reached a point in the Gene Stealer Patriarch LRE where I think I'm essentially done pushing levels, and I'm now just going back and filling in the requirement gaps I've left behind along the way. So I thought now would be a good time to discuss why I've stopped where I've stopped, and just some of the reasoning behind what things I've done in terms of battles and restrictions I've tackled. So first of all, I'm going to be looking at the alpha track, and the reasoning for this was simple. I like in the first round of an LRA, because I like to unlock on the first round if I can, to blitz through as many levels as possible, get to the highest battle I can. If I don't think I can beat a battle, then I will call it a day there, but I will generally try and push the envelope as far as I can to get to the highest battle possible. And the reason for that is because when you replay battles, you can tackle the formulae. You know, if I've done the max 4 hits and mechanical restrictions, then I can then tackle the formulae restriction for more points. So I can do that in combination with physical for even more points on top of that. But if you've beaten the battle in one go, you can only ever get the defeat all enemies bonus once. You can only get the 1 point bonus for every enemy you kill in a battle once, and you can also only get the extra 1 point for per point of your high score once. And what I mean by that is, if you kill 58 enemies in the battle, you'll get a bonus of 58 points for that, because it takes the maximum number of enemies that you've managed to kill in a battle and gives you a score based on that. So if I had only killed, say, 29 enemies in the battle, then I'd get an extra score of 29. And if I killed 29 in the next battle, I would clear this battle, and I'd get onto battle 14, because I will have killed 58 enemies at that point, but my high score in a single battle at that point would still only be 29. So I'd get 58 points for getting the kills, but my high score for a single battle would only be 29 points, so my bonus for that would only be 29 points rather than 58. So yeah, if you manage to clear through the wave in one go, the battle in one go, then you've earned a bonus of 116 points for this particular battle here, extra, and then another 36 on top of that. And you can only ever do that once per battle. So that's why it's worth it to kind of forge ahead and keep beating battles, because you get those extra points that you can only get once, as opposed to trying to beat restrictions. So for that, I chose my strongest team, which is my Admechs and Necrons together, and I managed to push all the way up to Alpha Battle 14, beat that. So even though my Necrons and Admech units, they can only earn 115 points by reaching restrictions, because of the fact I managed to beat the battle, I got another 36 points on top of that, and then another 94 points on top of that. So it's 130 points from all the extra stuff, plus the 115 from restrictions, so I got 245 points in total, which is a lot better than trying to go back and replay any of these restrictions. I only go back and replay once I've, again, as I said before, reached as far as I think I can. So in Gamma, for example, in Battle 12, I got to the point where I tried it with a minimum 4 hits, no Final Vengeance, and no Overwatch lineup, which would give me a decent quantity of points. However, I didn't think I was anywhere near beating it with that particular setup, and I didn't want to start making horrible kind of mishmash teams to try and beat it and only beat a few restrictions, because at the end of the day I'm going to be coming back to this event another couple of times, and I don't want to be spending loads of extra tokens trying to clear this battle more than I need to. You can see here my piercing team wasn't enough, so I flipped over to the minimum 4 hits, which I knew was stronger, and I beat this battle, and then obviously I knew that piercing wouldn't be any good for this one, so I didn't try and continue. So I lost a couple of tokens there. Those are the only couple of tokens I lost in this LRE. Just sort of testing the waters on Gamma and realising that it was a bit too tough for what I have at the moment. Finally on Beta, it got all the way up to Battle 14. From Battle 13 I knew 14 would be quite tricky, depending on the map, and it's not a good map. So I didn't bother trying to use my Angrax Maladus Rotbone team. I instead just went in with Aleph and the Tyrant Guard alongside them, so that I could meet the melee restriction. If I'd known what the map was before I went in, I probably wouldn't have even bothered to just go in just to beat the full melee lineup restriction, but I didn't have any preview of it, so I just thought, well, if it's a decent map, I'll go in with Rotbone, Maladus and Angrax and try and beat it with them. If it's a bad map, well, I can still probably win if I throw in the Tyrant Guard and Aleph, which is what ended up happening. So I still got a decent quantity of points out of that. It would have been better if I remembered that you could also get extra points for no summons, but that's just me being stupid. And so here I've also gotten up to the point where, so you can do flying and max 2 hits at the same time. However, the units available for it are pretty poor. When Phyomachus and Footmose are your kind of most valuable players, you kind of know that you're screwed. So I got up to Battle 3 and they were struggling a bit because my highest ranked character out of all the ones that meet this requirement are the Neurophrope at Bronze 3. So yeah, they really weren't going to get any further, and I didn't want to push it because I didn't need to at that point. However, I did think to myself, in the future I might come back and have a stronger full flying plus max 2 hits lineup, in which case I don't want to try and tackle, just full flying or just max 2 hits on its own for Battle 4, because in the future I could come along and do both of those at once in a single token. So trying to do them individually at this point now would just be a potential waste in the future. And you can see a similar philosophy here. So I beat Battle 9 with full piercing, Overwatch, and no Final Vengeance. And then I came back and I did the minimum 4 hits restriction on its own. And you can see that I haven't done minimum 4 hits for any of the earlier battles. So the reason I started higher up was, first of all, I knew it could be done. Also, secondly, it is actually possible to do both minimum 4 hits and full power damage at the same time. You just need a very specific lineup of Asmodai, Aon-Shi and Malganra. Now, I don't have Asmodai unlocked, so I can't actually try and tackle both of these at once, but if I did unlock him, in the future I might be able to do both of these restrictions at once for the first few, maybe up to Battle 3, probably not Battle 4, but because of that I didn't tackle the easier battles first, because I know that in the future I might be able to do them much more efficiently than just trying to do minimum 4 hits at the same time. So just trying to do minimum 4 hits on its own and not include power damage. That being said, my Malganra has been stuck at Stone 1 for the best part of a year. If I get Asmodai, I'm not intending to upgrade him at all, so I probably won't get very far trying to combine both of these conditions at once. It's still something to think about. Same can be said for Alpha, although it's a slightly different situation for Alpha. So I was doing physical and full melee at the same time, just to get 160 points per attempt, as opposed to just doing full physical. It would be stupid to do full melee on its own, because you can't combine bolter and physical. So if you did just full melee, you'd then have to do full bolter and full physical. And because I've already spent a token to do full mechanical and max 4 hits, that would be 4 tokens used per battle to fully clear it, which is horribly inefficient. I know this LRE forces you to be quite inefficient with your tokens anyway, and it's often 3 tokens needed to clear a battle, or 2 with very dodgy teams that can't get very far. But taking 4 tokens per battle would just be a bit beyond the pale for me. So I got up to battle 4, and my characters that I was using it were starting to struggle a bit, and I thought there is no point trying to do full melee and full physical in the next battle if they might lose. The reason for that is if I do full physical on its own, when I unlock Isabella, which I will be doing soon, then when I come back in the next run of this LRE, I will easily be able to do full bolter and full melee combined together. So I can just do full physical now, and then later on I can beat these 2 requirements together using Isabella, Bellator, and Calgar. And I know that Isabella, Bellator, and Calgar can get very far together, so I don't need to worry about them not being able to beat Battle 5. So in this case, I just beat full physical on its own, and I've been doing that for the higher battles as well, just beating full physical just on its own, so I can come back later on with my Isabella and the Gravis guys, and hopefully just breeze through the rest of this. But yeah, no point straining trying to push this line up any further than you need to. And I think in terms of any kind of nuance to what I've done, to the extent that there is any, that is all that there is to say. So I will leave it at that, but hopefully that's sort of given a bit of an insight into how I plan out not only how I'm going to unlock the character in the first run, but how I'm going to make it so that I can efficiently tackle the LRE the next time it comes round as well, just so I'm not wasting lots of tokens where I don't need to.